Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to show you how I do some of my grooming. Today's grooming is waxing. I wax my underarms and my legs, occasionally the bikini line, but I'm super duper pregnant. So I don't really, I can't see, can't do it, so that's just a maintenance issue I can't deal with myself right now. I was a licensed manicurist for many, many years, and my mom was a licensed cosmetologist. So the first time I ever got my anything waxed, I had my eyebrows waxed just before my senior prom, and at the time we hadn't done waxing that long in the salon. The unfortunate thing that happened to me that time was the wax was hot, and I flinched, and I lost part of my eyebrow on prom day. So for prom night, I had to pencil in my eyebrow to make it look right, which at the time, people didn't pencil in their eyebrows very much. So some of the things that I do to make it easier for me, well, I'll back up and show you a couple things first. This is my gross underarm. You can see I get a little bit of hair. And my other one. The more you wax, the less hair you have over time. So I have been waxing my underarms for probably 18, 20 years. Every once in a while, I'll get in a rush and I'll either not be able to run into the store for wax, or maybe I just don't have the time to wax my legs. The more I do it, the less time it takes. So I can wax both legs, the full leg, in both legs for 30 minutes. And that's usually including doing like the center part between my eyebrows. Occasionally I have to do my lip. Once in a while I'll even do here or in here. I get a little white fuzz. And this time of year I have a tan, so that just kind of bothers me. But the underarms, it makes it so, number one, I'm using less deodorant. There's no stubble. One of the grossest things I ever saw in my life, I was 19 and I was a new mom and I went to the beach, and this woman had razor burn, I swear to God, from hip to hip to her bikini line. And I said, I'm never ever going to shave again. And that was it for me. So I started waxing. I've done plucking, just everything. I've never done the threading. And you know, my eyebrows are naturally arched like this. I don't wax my eyebrows. Occasionally I get a stray light colored hair off of my eyebrow line, but I just do the little fuzz that grows in the middle for me. So some of the things that I do to help maintain and contain the mess in the bathroom is I use my counter sink, and especially with being pregnant, a stool can be helpful for this. But I use an old towel. The wax doesn't ever wash out of the towels completely, so you don't want to use your good towels. This right here is my wax warmer, and this is a clean and easy wax warmer that I bought at Sally Beauty Supply many, many years ago. It's actually my original one, so I've had it at least 15 years. But these wax collar drip collars will keep this metal and the sides of your machine really clean. The dial here, I've got mine a little hot right now. I actually needed to turn it down and forgot about it. I leave it set where I want it, and I leave my power strip on the side on, because sometimes it gets gummed up with wax and it's hard to adjust until it gets warm. So that way I can just plug it in and it'll gradually warm up. This is the Muslin Strip for waxing. They have a white one, and I forget what the material is, that works really well too. I find these work better for me, especially because the more I do this, the less hair I have. And I can reuse this over several sections at a time. And if you're going to do it like between your eyebrows or your lip, you can cut these into smaller strips so that it's more manageable. Because if you accidentally get some wax on an area of your face, that you're not intentionally waxing, it's gonna hurt a little bit. No matter how many times I do this, my lip is always the most sensitive part of my body to wax. Pre-waxing, I use Johnson's baby powder, and this will help keep the wax from sticking to your skin. And as a cleanup afterwards, I use the Johnson's baby oil. If you're going to use this on your face, it removes the excess wax that may have stuck to the face. It's usually just around the edge of the material that didn't grab it and pull it off. Make sure you use witch hazel or something like that, because it can really give you acne and make you break out. After I've done my second leg, I take an old washcloth, and these are some old baby cloths that I have that are really soft, and I wipe off all the excess oil to make sure that I'm properly moisturized. As a treat to myself, especially being pregnant, I like to use a self-tanner on my legs, just so that I can wear shorts and not be so pale, because I am fair-skinned and I don't lay out in the sun. So those are some of the things that I use to help with my waxing. Now, if you are going to use the self-tanner on your legs, make sure you wash your hands so that you don't get brown hands. You can use wooden spatulas or metal spatulas. I actually picked this up at the baking department at a grocery store, because the metal spatulas spread the wax thinner and helps you to reduce waste. So let's show you how I do this. So this is our actual waxing pot. That's as far as it opens, and I had actually cracked part of mine before, the little tab on the side, from trying to push it too far back when I was cleaning it. So a lot of times I just take that off. And when your wax gets low, you can always put something underneath it. And I've got an old towel underneath this also. You can just make it tip slightly. This metal bar that's built in is removable for cleaning. It helps you so that you can wipe your spatula back so that you don't have dripping everywhere. This setup works really well with how I do myself. So let's show you how to do this. As I said, the more I wax, the less hair I have. Just to try to show you an up close. I don't know if it'll work or not. And keep in mind, I am pregnant and I haven't done this in over 6 weeks. It's really hard to see. So it's really hard to see where the hair is, even on my legs. And I usually only do my lower leg and around my knees, because I don't want to have gross hairy knees. And I honestly don't wear a lot of shorts and things like that either. So I balance on one leg, and you can sit on a stool and do this too. For me, with having my pregnancy belly, it's fine for me to stand on one leg. So you just lightly sprinkle your leg with some powder. And I am one of these unfortunate women that I get a little hair on top of my foot and on my toe. So I do those at the same time. And I usually end up giving myself a pedicure within a day of this to keep up on some of my female grooming items. I do this strictly for myself, not for my husband. Showering is a luxury to me, especially with 4 kids in the house and a husband. So shaving in the shower just would never work well for me. Showers around here are quick. So you just push your muslin strip over the wax and pull back. Now if you have any leftover little bits of wax, you can just go back over that spot and it'll pick the wax right up. If you don't do that, and then you put socks on, you're gonna have lint and a layer of brown where everything sticks to you after the fact. So you can see here it just picks up the wax right on the surface of this. And I can keep using that same strip over and over. I buy those in a pretty large pack, and I don't remember how many come in it. But if you wanted to be really thrifty, what my mom did in her salon, and you're supposed to spread your wax down. I always have a hard time on the back of my leg spreading down. So whatever gets it done. But what my mom did is she would buy like a half a yard of muslin at Joann Fabrics that they use for quilting and cut it into strips. And now with rotary cutters, you can do it really fast. So I just rub this on in the center of the strip, push all the way to the edge, and pull it up. You do not want to pull slowly. You want to pull it fast so it grabs that hair and pulls it right out. The leg is probably the least sensitive area to do. So at this point you can go further up your leg, or you can turn your leg and work around in a circle. I kind of like to work on one side at a time. And I would say that in the 6 weeks, most of these hairs are about 3/4 to an inch long. The longer the hair is, the easier it grabs. So I'm not terribly fussy about doing it very often. Because it's so thin anyways, it's not very noticeable unless you see it up close.
Mommy, what are you doing?
Hi, I'm waxing my legs, Becky. So now I'll go back down to the lower part of my leg. And this is the part where it gets tricky with your balance and getting the back of your leg where you haven't been.
Why?
Well, because, Betty,
Why? Why were you talking?
Mommy's making a video at the same time. And that's why you have your collars.
Why? Why do I have my collar?
So they make special wax remover for things like this. The baby oil itself works, or you can use a product called Goof Off. The Goof Off is really strong smelling. And if you have printed numbers on the outside, you will find it can take that paint off.
Why?
So the cost of the whole setup can vary depending on which brand you buy and which system you buy. There are roll-on ones, systems.
Why, Mommy?
So now here, you can see my edge folded over a little bit and it's getting harder to pull off. So now I will switch strips and I just fold this in half so it doesn't stick inside of the garbage and move on. Got a little bit on my heel, so I just dab at it and disappear it.
Why, Mommy?
Well, because that's what I do.
Because I have a sun hat on my head.
Bethany has joined us for the waxing. Leave it. No, leave it.
Why?
Mommy's making a video, honey.
Why?
Because I was a licensed nail technician, I carry a Sally Beauty Supply. You do not have to have a license for professional cosmetology or being a manicurist in any way. Estheticians do facials and skincare.
Do I need to take a picture?
They just give you a slightly better price.
Oh, I just need to take a picture. I just need to take a picture.
No.
I just need to take one
Bethy,
picture.
Bethy, if you stop for a second, I'll take a picture of you.
Okay.
Okay? All right, here. Bethy wants her picture in here. Real quick. Here's Bethy.
Sit and take a picture of me.
I am right now. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, let's get you down.
Why do you wax here?
Mommy does not want to have hairy, gross legs.
Why?
So if there are any very short hairs that didn't come out, you can go back and get those with tweezers. But I always just look over it to see how it looks. Sometimes this last strip right here can be a little hard to see.
Hi, baby. Just me, Steffi. Today, I'm going to play tricks on me. Oops, I'll get the phone. Yes, Eve.
Well, in a minute. Okay, so now around the knee can be the trickiest part for some people. And you want to make sure that you are spreading that wax in the downward motion, especially around your knees. For me, I really don't get much hair on my thighs and on the backs of my legs. When I was, say, in my 30s, I mostly just got white fuzz on my legs. And I don't wear a lot of dresses and shorts anyway. But the hair in the knee area seems to be the hardest to get out and the slowest to grow. So that's usually the area that needs touch up with the tweezers. So then I just spread my baby oil on to help make sure that it gets any extra wax off. Sometimes on the back I can feel a little strip. Of wax that might have gotten left behind. And it's just helpful to have that moisturizing. So I'm going to do my other leg and then I'll show you how to do the underarms. Okay, so now we're going to do the underarms and it's the same procedure. I just put a little baby powder on my hand, working over a towel. You do not want to get this wax all over your room because it is sticky. It is a good idea to keep your hair pulled back. And you can do this with no clothes on. But I like to put the wax on in an upward motion. Get the entire armpit.
Mommy.
So that you can get it in one strip.
Mommy.
What?
Are these backwards?
No, your shoes are fine.
Okay.
Okay, so using a clean strip so that you get a good pull. Sometimes you have to do it in two sections. Because you can see here there's a little bit of wax sticking out, and that's fine. And I have done this pulling up and pulling down. Because the hair in your underarm grows in all kinds of directions. And just like that, it's off.
Why, Mommy?
So, totally clean. I only get about 8 hairs on my underarms, which is just great because that is not something you want to be sporting. And in an emergency halter or short sleeve wearing, I can always just pull those out with a tweezer and get away without waxing.
What?
And then of course I use my baby oil on my underarm. And this is why it's good to do this with like just a bra on or undressed. We don't want to be sporting any nudity here. And to keep the oil off, I make sure I always just follow up with my rag immediately instead of letting it soak in. And then now, I'll do my other underarm later. I always get the center of my eyebrows to not have any fuzz. Again, using a clean piece or just a section of piece, it's up to you. Right now, I've got my hair cutting stuff out to give the kids touch-ups, and my scissors are in the other room. And with a small little 3-year-old girl, we have to be very careful with scissors. She does not get haircuts. Okay, and then just putting your strip right in the center, press. You want to make sure, some people like to rub this until it cools down. You don't really have to do it that long. And then just straight down, just like that. And then you can see here, maybe I just get a light layer of fuzz. And it cleans it right up. Now this is the part that I was talking about with the witch hazel. So I'll clean this off. If you don't have witch hazel, you can use facial toner. You can use alcohol. But especially with people with acne prone skin, if you do these areas with oil, it can really irritate your skin. The children are fighting over video games right now. So I'm going to move on to my other. Shh. Okay, so now I'm going to do my lip. With a little girl who likes to cut her hair, we have to hide all the scissors in our house. Now you want to keep your wax to a minimum. Don't use excess because it just makes it harder to get it off. And don't be afraid to make funny faces at yourself. So I've cut a strip the size I need. And the hard part, of course, pulling it off in one quick, swift motion. So you just grab the corner. And see, a lot of times people put ice packs on their lips afterwards. I've got an errand to run afterwards, and it's hot outside, so that redness is not going to go away real fast on its own with being hot. I mean, it's like 85. So when I do this, I pull my cheek tight. And it's about impossible to do with your eyes open because it is fierce. Now I've heard, especially with African American skin, that the oil can really agitate your skin for acne breakouts within a day or two. I have a lot of Native American in me, so it has the same effect. So unfortunately, I'm out of witch hazel right now, so I'm just going to use my Neutrogena toner. It is alcohol-free and gentle on my skin, and a bottle lasts me forever. This way I can do a little makeup touch-up when I'm done. Some people go to the mall and get this done and then walk around the mall afterwards with a nice red mustache. So just like that, I'm all set up. So that is a waxing 101 for you, everybody. If you have questions, feel free to ask me and I will answer the best I can for you. If you are waxing any sensitive and delicate parts of your body, such as your bikini, Always remember to pull the skin tight before you pull the waxing strip off, because it does make a big difference in any areas where there's some pull, where like on my legs I don't have to do that. So thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.